If you are thinking about starting your own business, there are so many things to think about. But oftentimes the main question is, where do I even start? Well, I'm going to give you 10 things that you need to know before starting that business. These things will not only save you time now, but also down the long road. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, I'm Ashley Janelle, and thank you so much for coming back to my channel. I'm so excited about this topic, but before we get into it, I want to tell you just a little bit about me so that you have some context as to how I am here today to give you advice on starting a business. So I started my first business in 2013. It was an e-commerce business. It was an e-commerce apparel business. Then in 2018, I started a coaching business for people who wanted to transition into user experience design. And shortly after that, about a year later, that turned into a full-blown 16-week UX bootcamp where aspiring UX designers can join my bootcamp and they can go from beginner to experienced in just 16 weeks. And after that, they are getting jobs at large companies, small companies, startups, all kinds of companies. So I have started 2 very successful businesses. And I'm sharing these 10 tips with you because if I were to start another business today, I would most definitely keep these 10 tips in mind. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first tip that I have for you guys is a big tip. Oh my God, I wish that I had the foresight that I have now and the understanding that I have now around when you are starting a business. The idea is not to get everything perfect right out of the gate. The idea is to get started. There are so many things that stand in the way of us just getting started. And one of those things is branding. If I could go back, I would definitely tell myself that trying to get every element of branding down it's just not a main concern. Unless you are starting a branding business or a marketing business, and even honestly to a certain extent, right? Like everything does not have to be perfect. You do not have to necessarily have the best logo. You don't even necessarily need a logo. Depending on the business that you are starting, you don't necessarily need a logo or a color palette or a beautiful, awesome website. Like all of these things that we think about and that we know that we want to do that are super shiny and sexy, they are oftentimes blockers for us to get started. If your objective is to sell your t-shirts online, you don't necessarily need a logo to do that. And if you want to just create some kind of logo, something very quick and dirty, you can do that and you can come back to the branding element of it later. Because whatever you let become a blocker for you will become a blocker. Trying to come up with the perfect name and the perfect everything, it just does not necessarily have to all happen at one time. That is really something that I want to help you guys keep in mind. I know that's one of the first things that we think about when we think about starting a business and what's it going to be called and what's, what the color is going to be, what's my logo going to look like, who's going to design it. Listen, a lot of times that stuff is fluff. If you have a good product or a good service, people want your good product or your good service. They want you. Right? Or they want a solution to whatever problem it is that they're having. They don't care about your logo. They don't care about your brand colors. Okay? They want help from you. So keep that in mind because I know there is someone out there that is stuck on their branding elements for their website or for their brand in general. You don't need it. You don't need it to be perfect. So let's move along. So the second thing that I want to talk about is outsourcing. And this is something, honestly, that I did not do right away. I did it for my website. I actually designed my website and then I had a developer actually come in and actually develop it. But there were certain certain parts of my business that I wish I had outsourced earlier. I'm the outsourced queen now. But I think especially when we are creatives and we know how to do different things and we have so many skills, oftentimes it's really hard for us to relinquish control of different parts of the business and say, okay, I'm going to outsource this to someone so that they can run the social media and so that this person can do the copy and this person can do, whatever it is that needs to be done. Do not be afraid to outsource, okay? I don't want you, especially when you're just starting your business, I don't want you spending crazy amounts of money on just kind of frivolous things. But if there is something that is going to free up your time immensely so that you can go work on something else, please do that. A lot of times, again, where this is coming from is when we start things, we just become control freaks and we want control of every aspect, especially like I said, if we have multiple skills. I really, really implore you to not do that. Free yourself up. release the control now, release it in your mind, release the control, and allow someone else to come in and to help you. And honestly, I will say that a lot of times when you let other people, other contractors, or other people come in and help your brand grow, you will learn from those people. Even if you feel like you know how to do it, you will learn something. You will more than likely get, whatever it is that you are paying or asking them to do. They're going to deliver for you, but they may do it in a way that you weren't going to do it. And you may say, oh, I never actually thought about it coming out like that, or actually doing it like that, or actually approaching it that way. And again, you will be so surprised at how everything just starts to evolve and really come together because you have allowed other people to touch whatever product or service or whatever it is that you are trying to build. So please, please, please do not be afraid to outsource. So the next tip that I have for you guys is a very important one, and that is to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. Running a business is a very lonely experience in itself. And it's also even more lonely when you don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of or anyone to kind of help guide you through this process. So please make sure that you are either finding a mentor, finding a friend or family member that has also gone this entrepreneurship journey. I think Facebook groups are a really good way virtually to kind of meet people, meet other business owners, people who are running startups and things like that, and just really connect with like-minded individuals. They understand what you're going through. Anytime you have questions, they can answer. I think, it's really good to maybe get a good group, or, even if it's one other person that you can talk to weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever it is, just to sometimes even just vent. But also it's just amazing when you talk to people, the resources that you learn about, the resources that you learn that are available to you that you didn't even know about, or just different ways to do things. So please make sure that you are not on this journey by yourself. Even if you don't have someone physically with you, the virtual world is also a really great way to find mentorship. Which leads me into my next point, which is that you will not know everything. And this is a good point. It's a very short one, but it's good. You won't know everything. There will be so many things that you just will not know. Finding a mentor or finding someone else to kind of bounce ideas off is great, but having the understanding that you are on a new journey and that there are things that you just won't know. A lot of times you don't know what you don't know. And so this journey of uncovering things and trying to get to a level of understanding that you are comfortable with for a multitude of subject matters, not just, your particular, niche or whatever it is that, you're selling or what have you, just how to be a business owner in general, legal matters, all kinds of things. There are so many learning curves that you are going to actually have to go through. So just have grace with yourself and just understand that you are literally learning as you go, and just make sure that you give yourself that grace. The next tip that I have, I kind of already alluded to it, but make sure that you get your legal affairs in order before you start anything. Before you start any work, before you start anything, make sure that you have your legal matters in order. Anything from your LLC or, however you're actually going to file your business for protection, any, tax ID, numbers and things like that, tax identification numbers, any contracts, if you're going to be doing business with someone else, making sure that you have contracts in place. This is not sponsored, but LegalZoom is a good resource for specifically new entrepreneurs that are starting out and don't have a ton of money but need access to attorneys to maybe read over contracts or maybe ask questions to, and you don't necessarily have like $200 an hour to pay someone. LegalZoom is a really good resource for you as well. I'm sure there are others out there, but just make sure that you have your ducks in a row when it comes to your legal matters. You do not want that smoke later down the road, and it's always best to talk to someone and say, this is what I'm planning to do, and you've laid out everything that, all the key players, if you have other people that you're going to be involving, so they know how to help set you up, and they know to tell you, okay, well, you're gonna be working with, contractors, you're gonna need some sort of a contract. Let's draft you up a contract, and here's, a contract that you can use moving forward and things like that. So make sure that before you do anything with anybody, before you, let that website go live and people are buying things and all that kind of stuff, make sure that you have your legal affairs in order. So my next tip is actually one that is very interesting, and it's something that I myself have encountered. I also hear this a lot from business owners, whether it be new business owners, whether it be business owners who might be struggling a little bit, and that is your friends and your family. Although when we start a business and we're so excited about it and we've worked so hard and we just want everyone to come out and support us, you cannot count on your friends and family all of the time and the people around you to be the catalyst for your business and actually carry your business into success. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes, and I hear this a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I've thought this as well, especially kind of like in my earlier days of starting businesses, that the people that I thought that were going to support me are not supporting me. You know, I have friends that, I wish they would buy a t-shirt, or I wish they would, repost about this event that I'm having for my business, or I wish. And I'm here to tell you that sometimes people just don't show up for you. And that is probably a separate conversation. But what I want us to kind of realize is that our friends and our family oftentimes are not our target audience. And even if they are our target audience, even if they do fall under our target audience, I don't want you to go into your business thinking that your friends and your family are the ones that are supposed to pretty much like seed fund your business, which means that they are the ones they are your first, customers, and they are going to carry your business for the entirety of, you having that business. It just doesn't happen. And I want us to keep our expectations in the right places. Again, when we have friends and family who do support us, it's fantastic. We love it. We need that, right? A lot of times, like those initial orders sometimes come from friends and family. The initial shares come from friends and family. But there are times where we just don't see the support from friends and family, and it's something that you can really take personally. But what I will say is focus on your target audience. If you did not have those friends, if you did not have, that family, focus on finding and marketing to your target audience. Okay? That's kind of really more where this is going. It's like, sometimes the people that we expect to support us and show up for us don't really, but also too, you can't expect those people to carry your business. That's just not realistic. So you have to figure out, how am I going to reach the right people to make my business successful? That's where you need to focus, and not necessarily get in your head around the people around you who are not supporting you. So the next tip is, I want you guys to be prepared to invest in the tools and the platforms that you need for your business to be successful. So there are a ton of tools, even like marketing email software. A lot of this stuff is not free. These things are paid services that you are going to need to pay for. Your email address, your domain, all this stuff you are going to have to pay for. So just be prepared for the things that you are going to have to pay for. Set aside a budget. You don't have to go crazy. Just like I said with, bringing in outsourcing talent. You don't want to go crazy buying everything and trying to, hire everyone to do all these things. But I just want to put you, up on game that things are going to cost money when starting a business. So make sure that you set aside money specifically for these monthly or these annual fees for these different services and platforms for actually running your business. It costs money. And what you can also do if you are, not wanting to necessarily pay for everything, which I definitely don't recommend, is say, okay, what are the top 2 or 3 things that I have to pay for right now, or this I have to pay for this month. You know, you're getting your email and your domain set up, maybe one. Typically those go hand in hand. Maybe running your email marketing software is another. Maybe there's like a CMS tool or something else that you need to pay for as well. So I just want you guys to just start thinking about and setting aside budget for these things that you are going to have to pay for. So my next tip is for all of my full-time workers out there who are building businesses. I am so happy for you guys. I built both of my businesses while working full-time. But one of the things that I hear often from people who want to start a business while working full-time is that they don't want to have to answer to anyone. They want to start their business because they want to be their own boss, and they don't want to have to ever answer to anyone ever again. And I'm just honestly here to tell you that that never stops. Your customers become your boss. The people who are purchasing your service, the people who are purchasing your product, you have to answer to them. They are the ones that are keeping your business afloat. They are the ones that you have to keep happy. They are the ones that you want to keep happy because, number one, you want to do, and make an honest living and do honest work. But also, they're the people that are going to tell their friends and their family and their circle about your product or your service. So you want to make sure that you're doing a good job. So I just want to kind of reframe this mindset around leaving our 9 to 5, or maybe not leaving our 9 to 5, but having something on the side, and this idea that we won't have to answer to anyone, because I can tell you from years of experience, both running a product-based business and a service-based business, that your customers become your boss. So you are always answering to someone. Also, kind of staying in the realm of working a full-time job while running a new business, I want to just kind of set expectations as to what that looks like and what that feels like. And I'm actually going to do a kind of a part 2 to this video that is going to be specifically around running a business while working full time. But the other thing that I just want to touch on is that if this is something that if this is your situation, you are currently working a full-time job and you are, running this new business, just please be prepared to work 24/7. It kind of goes without saying, but obviously you're working a full-time job and then you're also running a business. So just please prepare yourself for always being on. A lot of times we have our full-time jobs, we're off after 5, we're off on the weekends. And when you have this side business, your weekends and your after hours, and sometimes your before and during work hours are taken up by running this business. So just kind of want to set expectations there, something to prepare for. If you're already going through this process, you probably already feel it, but you are always going to be on. So again, I'm going to touch on this in another video, but things like taking care of yourself, staying active, definitely prepping your mental health are definitely things that you are going to want to prioritize, because you are going from working 8 or 9 hours a day to maybe 12, 13 hours a day, maybe more, and then your weekends are also taken up with this new passion project. So just be ready for it. So the last tip that I have for you guys is something that I really want you guys to absorb. And honestly, if you need to write it down somewhere where you will see this every day, please do. It's something that I remind myself of often as well. And that is, just because you are not seeing instant success with your business does not mean that your business is not successful. And honestly, it doesn't necessarily have to be instant success. It could also just be success in general. Maybe you've been running your business for 3 months, 6 months, and you only had a couple of orders, or you only had, a few customers. That is not the time to get down in the dumps about your business and consider throwing it away. That is the time to possibly re-strategize. That is the time to possibly step away for a little bit. And when I say step away, I mean just like, if you're going at it day in and day out, maybe just, give yourself a little vacation and come back refreshed. Instant success it's a thing for some people, but it's not a thing for most people. And most of the time you want to have a gradual progression to something, because most of the time that's a lot more organic, and that takes time. It takes time to build a good thing. It takes time to build a good team. It takes time to figure out what products or what tools or what platforms work best for you. That stuff takes time. It takes time to get into the groove of things. It takes time to understand how you can run your business successfully and also work a full-time job and also be a parent and also be a good girlfriend or a good husband, also be a good parent. Like, it takes time. So if you are someone who is currently down in the dumps, or maybe you are feeling a little down in the dumps, or maybe you're just starting your business and later you remember this video because you're feeling like your business is not where you want it to be at the point that you feel that it should be there, please do not get down on yourself. Again, like I said, that's the time to re-strategize. That's the time to step away for a little bit. That's the time to just try to reanalyze what's going on. Okay, it's not the time to completely throw your business away and say that it is worthless and that you shouldn't have started it in the first place, and all these things that come into our minds because things are not going the way that we think that they should go. So just something to remember. I hope that resonates with someone. And again, if you are watching this video now and maybe you're not there, maybe write that down. You know what I mean? Success takes time, and success looks different for everyone. So, a lot of times it's really easy to compare ourselves to, a friend that we know that's doing really well, or to someone else that we follow that's doing really well, or someone that grew their business to 7 figures in 6 months. Like, listen, great for that person, and I'm sure that they have a lot of things that you can learn from, and you can ask them questions and really try to understand what were some of the things that they did. But everyone's story is not your story, so keep that in mind. You are still successful. You are still meant to be successful. It's just things take time, and that's it. That is really the long and the short of it. So I hope these tips helped you. I hope that you found at least like 5 things in these tips that you are going to either remember or you are going to implement. Please remember that I am going to do a part 2-ish to this video, and that is for people who specifically work a full-time job and are also trying to, start up their business. And that's going to be another really great video with some really great tips, because like I said, I have done it twice. So it is not easy, but it is not easy. So that's all I'm gonna say, is not easy. So make sure that you look out for that video as well. Any comments that you guys have, any questions, please leave them in the comments. I can't wait to read them. And if there's anything else that you want me to cover or talk about, also tell me in the comments as well. I love talking about business, entrepreneurship, all these great things. And yeah, if you have any suggestions or questions for me, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.